cancer, the other is malignant. And the frequently the term used as a cancer, that is malignant cancer. What is benign cancer? When at any position of the body cells divide uncontrolled and they form a lump of cell, that is benign tumor, because that is localized. Cancer cells are not moving in the body, and after some time these cells decreases the restriction on them and they start moving in the body. When cancer cells move from one place to other place, then that cancer is called malignant cancer. So the most dangerous form is malignant cancer, because benign cancer means that there is a local lump of cells, there is an amorphous mass of cells in your body. You can just remove them surgically, or you can damage those cells by radiation, or you can use another method to remove that part of the body or those cells from the body. But when there is a malignant tumor, cells are moving in the body with the bloodstream or with the lymphatic system, then it is more difficult to control their situation, and that situation actually means the death. And now this is the difference between the normal cell and the cancerous cells. You all know very well that cancerous cells, if there are two muscle cells, one is the cancerous muscle cell, other is the normal muscle cell. If there are two epithelial cells, one is the normal epithelial cell, other is the cancerous cell, they both will show different characters, because the cancer cell, whether that is a neuron, whether that is a muscle cell, whether that is a glandular cell, yes, you can come. All these cells show different characteristics. Cancer cells are non-differentiated cells, but the normal cells are differentiated cells. What do you know about the differentiated cell? A differentiated cell has specific structure for a particular job in the body, and it has some gene active and some other genes are inactive. But in case of cancer cells, they never modified themselves to perform particular function in the body. As I mentioned earlier, these cells actually lost some activities in the body. They cannot perform any activity in the body because of damaged genetic makeup. So they have abnormal large nuclei. They do not undergo apoptosis. No contact inhibition mean other cells cannot inhibit their division, and they disorganized, multi-layered. They never form a smooth layer like the normal cells in the body. They undergo metastasis and angiogenesis. Metastasis means they start moving from one point to other point in the body, and angiogenesis means the cancer cells, when they form a lump of cells, they form a amorphous mass of cell, and that mass of cells definitely need blood circulation, so new blood vessels form there, that is known as angiogenesis. So personal view of cancer, what is the common perception about the cancer? In the popular imagination, cancer equal death, and you know very well, whenever there is a cancer and that cancer is spreading in the body, that ultimately means the death. So these are the some terms which are used for the cancers. As I mentioned that there are two types of cancer. One is the benign, the other is the metastatic cancer. So the terminology is also different for both type of cancers, and the terminology for the cancer is actually based on the type of cells. As I said, that every type of cells in the body can be converted into a cancerous cell. So if a cancer cell is a epithelium from the gland, the term, and the cancer is benign, the term will be used as adenoma. If the cancer cell is epithelial cell, if the cancer is originated from the epithelial cell and those epithelial cells were present at the lining of our body organs, then the term will be used as papilloma. And if that is malignant, then squamous cell carcinoma. Same, if the cancer cells are fibroblast and the cancer is benign, then you will use the term fibroma. And if the cancer cells are fibroblast and the cancer is metastasizing in the body, that is malignant tumor, then you will use the different term, which is fibrosarcoma. And then there is a osteoma and osteosarcoma. You can use these terms, and you have heard these terms actually from the society. So what causes cancer? I briefly discuss some of the factors causing cancer. So first of all, lot of people think that the cancer is hereditary disease. But please keep in mind, cancer is not a hereditary disease. Only you can say 1% or less than 1% of the cancers are hereditary. And if the cancer is hereditary, so it means that some of the genes inherited in a person from his parents were mutated. But these mutated genes were not those genes which are directly involved in cancer causing. Actually, those genes were playing role in activating or inactivating cancerous genes. So there is an indirect way of causing cancers by those genes. So there's no evidence that a gene that was present in the parents and that was mutated, and that mutated gene inherited into offspring, and that gene, because of only that gene, that person got the cancer. There's no evidence. Of course, there are some mutations in the proto-oncogenes and in the tumor suppressor genes, and those genes can be inherited into offsprings, but alone those mutations cannot cause the cancer in the offspring. So they definitely need some other environmental factors, or they definitely need some other mutation to be take place in the genome. So only 5% of the breast cancers are related to heredity. So if the cancer is not a hereditary disease, here I mentioned some of the genes which are actually when mutated, they having ability to inherit into offsprings, and they are related to different cancer types. But as I said, they are not directly involved in causing cancer in the offsprings. So if the cancer is not a hereditary disease, so then I think there is, when you made a point in your mind that cancer is not a hereditary disease, then to control cancer is very easy. Why? We are actually the helpless when a disease is hereditary, that has inherited from the parents. It means a person has faulty genomic makeup, it has inherited faulty genes, so you can't do much more for that person. So when you know a problem is not a hereditary, it is attained from the environment, it is acquired from the environment, it means if you try, you can control that problem. So I will give you the global statistics of cancer death, then you will be able to find how many millions lives you can save by your action, which is actually the goal of my lecture. So as I said, the cancer is not actually the hereditary disease. The other factor which play role in the cancer development, that is the immunity. As you know, I said that in our body, when a cell has its faulty genomic makeup, has mutated genes, then that cell can be converted into cancer cell. And when a cell is converted into cancer cell, definitely it will form some, you can come, give them a seat. So I need your focus please. As I said that when there is a cell with damaged genomic makeup and it is converted into a cancer cell, then it will definitely form some antigens on its plasma membrane. And when it will form some antigens on its plasma membrane, this cancer cell will be bit different from the normal cell. So our immune system never attack on our own body cells, but it can attack on those cells which are bit different from our normal body cells. It means our immune system should attack on those cancer cells. But this happens also in some of the cancer cells. But if the immune system is suppressed, if there are some viruses which affect on our immune system, so when there is a person with immunocompromised immune system, his immune system is immunocompromised, his immune system is suppressed, his immune system will no longer attack on the cancer cells. So it means the cancer will proceed on. It will start developing. So you can say all those factors which affect on your immunity, like AIDS, I will mention in the next slide. AIDS, as you know, AIDS affect on your immune system. It destroys your immune system. It never kills you by itself. It just only destroys the immune system. When the immune system is destroyed, the cancer can proceed forward. Then the viruses, hepatitis B and C virus, as you have studied in your course books, that the hepatitis B and C often lead to liver cancer. And then human T cell leukemia virus, that virus is involved in changing the genetic makeup of stem cells which are producing the white blood cells. And then there is the Epstein-Barr virus. That virus also brings changes in the proto-oncogenes as well as the tumor suppressor genes. And then there is a human papilloma virus. That virus is related to several types of cancers. I will mention in next few slides. And then this is a bacteria which is known as H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, a spiral bacteria that is involved in stomach cancer. And then there are some parasites like Schistosoma species and Clonorchus sinensis. This is a liver flu. These are also involved sometime in some type of cancers, mostly the liver cancer. Then there is a list of chemicals which are responsible for causing cancer. And then there is a smoking, which is the main focus of my presentation. I will discuss a bit more in the coming slides. Single biggest cause of cancer. What is the biggest cause of cancer? I might be asking some question at the end of this presentation, so be ready for that. The biggest cause of cancer is the smoking. 25 to 40% smokers die in their middle age. And 9 in 10 lung cancers are caused due to smoking. If there are 10 patients with lung cancer, it means 9 of those patients got lung cancer by smoking. And this is known from 1950 that tobacco is causing cancer. Here you can see the smoking and alcohol. When both are taken together, they are responsible for cancer. In this graph, actually, you can just see that the taking tobacco and the drinks, both are responsible for causing cancer. But what matters a lot, that is the quantity as well as the duration. Quantity and the duration both are playing a role in the cancer. And then there are some physical causes of cancer, and you have studied and you heard a lot about the X-rays. If you don't need, you never go for the radiologist for the X-ray, because X-rays are actually the ionizing radiation. They cause cancer. So, but that depends how many times you have exposed to radiation. And some other like ultraviolet rays whom you can't control, and there are the gamma rays which are used in CT scan, computed tomography. You have heard the word, I think. Some of the participants are doctors as well. I think they are the medical students. They know very well. X-rays and the CT. Both X-rays are ionizing, and in the CT scan, you heard the word, they use the gamma rays, which are the ionizing radiation. They also play a role in cancer. But the MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, that is the safe technique because they use some other technique than the ionizing radiation. So then there is another factor which is responsible for cancer, that is obesity. Because obesity links with many other diseases, and those all diseases contributing in causing cancer. So as I explaining several factors, as I explained the tobacco use, alcohol use, and now the obesity, at the end of the presentation you will be able to discuss many points regarding cancer, and you will be able to say how you can control the cancer. Because as the state secretary announced that at the end of presentation we will have a fruitful discussion amongst yourself, and we will find a way forward how we can play our role in decreasing or minimizing this problem from the society, or eradicating this problem from the society. So be ready for that. And then this is the most important slide of my presentation. Global cancer statistics. To get devoted or to get emotional for any problem, or you get to get ready to find the cure of a problem, to find a prevention of a problem, you always need to know the severity of that problem. And the severity of cancer is explaining from this slide. 14.1 million cases are detected each year. How many cases? Worldwide. This is the worldwide ratio. 14.1 million mean 10 lakh makes 1 million. So 8 million occurred in economically developing countries. We are economically developing country. We are living in an economically developing country. So you can see the figure, 8 million occurred in economically developing countries. About 22,000 cancer deaths a day. This is alarming. About 22,000 people die every day with cancer. So should we stand up against this problem or not? Yes. I think a person who is not from medical side, who is not from engineering side, who is not involved in the education process, if he knows that the 22,000 people die every day, he will definitely stand up. He will definitely donate what he has to eradicate this problem. And you should also try to produce desires in your brain and your heart to overcome this problem. And then I move with the speed because the time is running so fast. So mortality rate, I just mentioned that worldwide 1 in 7 death is due to cancer. If 7 people are dying, it means 1 in 7 death is due to cancer. 1 person will be from cancer. And cancer causes more death than AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria combined. If you combine the death of AIDS patient, tuberculosis and malaria all together, if they are equal to 100, the 100 patient will be killed with cancer alone. And this is the rank. How many people die with cancer worldwide? What is the rank of death of cancers in the world. The most killing diseases, cardiovascular diseases, worldwide rank first, and then in low and middle income countries, the cardiovascular problems related death are at rank first, and also in high income countries the cardiovascular cases at first position also. But the cancer comes at third number in case of low income area where we live, because the infectious diseases comes at second number. But in high income regions, there the cancer comes at second number. So we should stand up not only for the cancer, we should stand up for the cardiovascular problems, because this problem killed more lives than any other problem. Then the other problem is the cancer or the infectious diseases. So these are the three major diseases which are causing death in the country, not in our country but whole world. So here we have classified, we have sum up the several cases. Most common cancers worldwide in 2012. Lung cancer is at the top, and as you know, the lung cancer is caused by the tobacco. And then there is a breast cancer and colorectal cancer. This is the arrangement. You can see which cancer is more prevailing, which is less prevailing, and you will have the risk factors for those, and you will be able to make some points. And then there is a childhood cancer. Now I'm going to discuss the various risk factors for each type of cancer in the body. I think if you know the risk factor for every type of cancer, you can try to prevent from those risk factors. It means you can prevent yourself and others from the cancer. So what are the risk factors for childhood cancer? Actually, there is no clear-cut risk factor for the childhood cancer. Childhood cancer include mostly the leukemia. This is somehow related to heredity, and the other main factor is the radiation. And what is the risk factor? What are the risk factors for colon and rectum cancer? This colorectal cancer actually increases with the age. Obesity, physical inactivity, moderate to heavy alcohol consumption, long-term smoking, high consumption of red or processed meat, low calcium intake, and very low intake of whole grain fiber, fruit and vegetables. So one point which I want to explain with detail about the colorectal cancer. We are normally taking the processed meat. That processed meat is actually containing lot of poisons, lot of toxins, lot of carcinogenic compounds. Actually, we are having lot of carcinogenic compound in our food. They are mixed in our food. Mostly these carcinogenic compounds are present in the form of dyes and other forms, and we don't know about their carcinogenic potential. And when these carcinogenic particles, components or chemicals are taken with the food, they adhere with mucous membrane of our intestine. They stay there. If we are not taking dietary fibers, mean the whole grains, not taking vegetables, we are not taking fruits, because you know the vegetable, fruit and whole grains, all these ingredients give you the dietary fibers. And when there are no dietary fibers, these mutagens, these carcinogenic compound will adhere, will attach to your mucous membrane. They will have lot of time to cause cancer of the colon or intestine. But if you are taking dietary fibers, then there will be the production of large amount of fecal material. So your fecal material will move fast, and by this process, these carcinogen or mutagen will move fast from your body. They will have no more time to stay at the mucus. They will have no time to stay, it means they will not be able to cause cancer of the colon. So the dietary fiber are more important to prevent from the colon cancer. And then there is a esophagus cancer. Esophagus cancer is actually related to the obesity. Whenever a person is obese, what will happen to him? There is obesity linked with another disease. Their disease is gastroesophageal reflux disease. In an obese person, a reflex comes from stomach to esophagus. Mean lot of stomach fluid come back into esophagus, and our esophagus has thin mucous membrane. This fluid will affect on the esophagus. This will irritate the esophagus, and this irritation will ultimately lead to the cancer of esophagus. So these are some of the other risk factors are also mentioned there. And then there is a liver cancer. Liver cancer, the biggest cause of liver cancer is the hepatitis B and hepatitis C. So if you want to prevent your liver from the cancer, you should prevent yourself from the hepatitis B and C virus. And how you can prevent yourself from hepatitis B and C virus? That is very easy. Lot of ways are mentioned in your FSC biology book. You should avoid free sexual contact. You should avoid the reuse of syringes. You should use the sterilized instrument in your surgical operation theaters, and you should be avoiding yourself from the exchange of body fluids. These are the several factors which are actually responsible for the spread of hepatitis B and C virus. So if you are preventing yourself from the hepatitis B and C virus, it means you are preventing yourself from the liver cancer. And then there are aflatoxins. You have studied and know very well about the aflatoxins. They are produced from the fungi, and they are mostly reached to your liver by the milk product or some other food components, and they are also able to cause liver cancer. And then there is a lung and bronchus cancer. And the lung cancer is actually, what is the biggest cause of lung cancer? Smoking is the biggest cause. Sometimes smoking is not playing a role in causing lung cancer, but it weakens the lung tissue. Some other chemical like asbestos can lead to the lead to the lung tissues, to the cancerous tissues. So tobacco directly affects on the lungs or indirectly affect on the lung. So the biggest cause of the lung cancer is smoking, tobacco smoking. Why I always mention the tobacco? Because this is not only the cause of lung cancer. Till now you have studied several other cancers which are linked to tobacco. As you know, that tobacco has 600 ingredients or 600 compounds in it, and these 600 compounds, when undergo combustion, they produce 7,000 compounds, and out of those 7,000 compounds, 69 compounds are, and out of those 7,000 compounds, 69 compounds are carcinogenic, non-carcinogenic. How many compounds in a cigarette smoke are carcinogenic? 69, which also include the lead and chromium. So this is the main reason tobacco is not only involved in the lung cancer, this is also involved in every type of cancer, directly or indirectly. Then there is a prostate cancer in men. The main reason for the prostate cancer is the aging. Mostly people having prostate cancer at the age of 50 or 60 years. So if you are delaying your aging, how you can delay your aging? There are many ways by which you can delay your aging by taking balanced diet, by taking adequate amount of required minerals and vitamins, by resting your body, giving your body the proper time for rest, and several other factors by whom you can prevent yourself from aging, or you can delay your aging. And when you can delay your aging, it means you can prevent yourself from the prostate cancer. And several other factors are also involved in the prostate cancer. You can read those factors from the slide. And then there is a stomach cancer. As I mentioned that H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, is the main reason, is the main cause for stomach cancer. And the most important thing is this bacteria actually transmit from one person to other by the saliva, by the exchange of saliva. So the other main factor of this transmission is known as oral route. The FSC student must know about the oral transmission and oral fecal transmission. And this is also transmitting or spreading through oral fecal route. And these are the two routes of transmission of H. pylori, and H. pylori is the main cause of stomach cancer. Then there is a urinary bladder cancer. Several factors are involved in this. You can read from the slide. But tobacco is again at the top. And then there is a uterine cervix cancer. The uterus cancer in female is actually caused from HPV, human papilloma virus. This is and this virus is spread through sexual contact, and some other factors are also mentioned on the slide. You can see those factors. And now the vaccine is available for that virus, but there is no treatment for that virus. And then there is a breast cancer, which comes at second number now in females, and several factors are involved in the breast cancer. Some of those factors I should explain because this is the most emerging case. One, the main cause of breast cancer is that those female which having periods before the age of 12 year, or in other words, those females having menopause after 55 years, both are at the risk of breast cancer. And then those females which are breastfeeding to their young ones, they are actually lowering the risk of breast cancer, because breastfeeding actually lowers the risk of breast cancer. And then the producing